So I've collected plenty of blackberries from the bush in my garden. I have 4 punnets in total. Not that they're punnets, they're just old margarine tubs, but we get the idea. There they are, keeping them frozen. And there's still more to come. By no means is this everything the bush shall produce. So let's make a pie. Now I also got apples, big brandy cooking apples. This is from my parents' neighbour's garden. They kindly gave us a few. Good lesson here, don't let your fruit rot. If you have fruit growing in your garden, do something with it. Cook it, or whatever. If you don't have to cook it, eat it. If you don't like it, give it to someone else. Bag up a load of cooking apples and put them outside your house with a sign saying free cooking apples. Don't just let them rot, especially in these times of crisis when we have people having to go to food banks for food. In this time of crisis, a bag of cooking apples could provide 2 or 3 puddings for a family. You know, that's pretty good. So don't let your fruit rot. Also, wash your fruit. I'm going to wash these now. Wash your fruit. I don't care how romantic you think the idea of eating it directly off the branches. And this is not the famous 5, this is reality. Wash your fruit. Okay, fruit has been washed. It's now going to be peeled and chopped. Well, the apples are, obviously. I don't need to peel and chop the blackberries. That would be pointless. So, yeah, let's peel. Next we need a pan with some water in it. I'm just going to chuck all the apples in there. I'm going to do the apples first and I'm going to add the blackberries. Now, most people would use sugar. I tend to use this stuff, which is a natural sweetener, but it has a lot less calories than sugar. This is the baking blend, so it has a bit of sugar added to it, but it's a bit lower in calories. Not that I'm trying to imply pie is, you know, especially healthy. It's still going to have a very fatty crust, but a little bit of this. You don't need to add as much as this as you would sugar. You need a little bit. Basically, I'm going to put that on the hob. And let that stew for a bit. Okay, so pastry is basically just flour and fat. How much you use kind of depends on how much you want to make, what kind of pastry you want to make. I tend not to use weights and measures, as you can tell, and then to just wing it. Put a little bit more of that in there, I think. If you want to make a crumble, obviously you want a kind of crumbly pastry. If you're making a pie, however, you want something a bit thicker, sort of more together kind of pastry. Okay, I'm going to press this into the pie dish. Some people like to rolling pin their pastry. I'm not too fussed about that. Might need to make a bit more. ideally you want the crust to ride up the side like that. Okay, and we'll do some more pastry in a moment to go over the top. Starting to look nice and mushy, which is what we want. We want mushy apple sauce. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Some nice mushy apple sauce type stuff. So I'm going to add the blackberries, which like I said I've washed. Chuck them in. They're a bit slow at frozen. Doesn't matter, that will soon change. Mix them in there. Add a little bit more of the sweetener, not a lot, a touch more. Blackberries give a kind of slightly sour taste to the contrast to the apples that have a kind of sweet taste. You get a sort of sour taste from your blackberries. So it's quite a nice combination. Blackberries on their own are a little bit odd, maybe a little bit too sour, but with the apples they're very nice. So I'm going to reduce the heat as well a little bit so it stews, simmers. Basically the blackberries should sort of lose their form. They should mix in with the rest of it. Once that happens, we're ready to put it in the pie. So we're looking pretty good here. So I'm just going to take a couple of cupfuls of the apple and blackberry mixture, add them to my pie dish. There we go. Now we need to put some more pastry on top of that. There we go. Now in the oven with it. You should of course make sure, if you're just putting a blanket of pastry over the top rather than a crisscross, that you pierce it, otherwise it'll explode when it's in the oven. There we go, that's been in the oven for a few minutes now, looking very pie-like. It's a nice crumbly crust. As tempting as it would be to launch straight in and eat the pie, we need to let it cool. Give it about 5 or 10 minutes, just let it cool down a little bit.
Intersectional feminism, which is basically a bunch of feminists trying to stick their fingers into everyone else's pie.
Okay, pie has cooled sufficiently. I'm going to cut a slice. I'm going to see if I can actually cut and serve a neat slice of pie. But if I can't, just remember, neither could Carl Sagan. He was a brilliant astronomer, so fair's fair. This is the closest thing to a pie slice I own as well. So we'll just have to see how we get on with it. Okay, Just trying to serve. And this bit looks robust. Perfect, look at that. So I'm having that with a bit of vegan ice cream, this brand, dairy-free ice cream. Yeah, thanks for watching.